All right, what's up, Internet? Yo, 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 what up? Another one, another overtime game. You know what? I should have done that. I should have just taken it. It's like being at the roulette table and you're betting on green, right? You know, it's so rare to see these overtime games. And Auburn has, what, 4 of the last 5 now? All wins, of course. And after that start, when they're up, 16-0 to open, you're like, oh, God, it's going to be another one of those 94-40s, right? And wasn't that way at all, was it? Whew. That was something else. 95-91 in overtime. Some. William W. says Tuscaloosa just hit another 3. Let's see. Alabama set SEC records for most threes attempted in a game and most threes hit in a game. I forget what the actual final tally was. I was trying to get the show put together there at the very, very end and put the box up here. 22 of 58. Good golly. And, man, you want to be honest, they had a really, really cold streak there at the end of regulation and into overtime until about 2 minutes into overtime that probably helped Auburn win that game. Alabama was 2 of 13 at one point from 3 to close out regulation and then to open overtime. So they cooled off there for a little bit, and then they picked it back up there late in overtime and added some drama to that one. But, Colby makes a good point. Says that was the best game of Alabama's life, and they still lost. Yeah, imagine hitting all those threes and still losing. That was crazy. I want to make sure I didn't miss any chats here, anything in the chat going on. We got a lot of our good folks up in the house tonight. Canoe Man's in the house. Corny's in the house. AU Boss. A lot of our Matt AU05 is in the house as well. Chipper. Cleveland Brown. Always here with us. Let's see who else we got. Alpha Tigers in the house. You're here with us a lot. AU Taxman, of course, one of our standards, so to speak. Let's see. Alpha Tiger says Wiley's hands tonight were atrocious. Yes, there's a rule we've got to take into account now, I think, and the rule is never, ever, ever, ever give him the ball when his feet are moving. Like the only time you're allowed to give Austin Wiley the ball is when he is set. His feet aren't moving, and maybe you need to give him an extra second and a half after his last step to just make sure he's not going anywhere, because if he's running and you're throwing to him, it's a guaranteed turnover. I don't understand it, but I'm not here to poop on Austin because he had a good night. I mean, let's be real about it. 18 points, 17 boards. I know the 17 boards is a career high for him, and he only needs 9 shots to get there. 6 of 9 from the floor, 6 of 11 from the free throw line. A little bit off of his season numbers at the free throw line, but still, he brought you a lot, and 5 blocks too. He played like a man who was very emotionally invested into this game, and I thought it was his best game too. And then there was a weird thread on the bunker where they were pooping on Al Flanagan. I don't know where this stuff comes from. I think they just make up numbers sometimes. Al Flanagan, was he big tonight? No. Was he terrible tonight? No. 5 points on 1 of 2 shooting, 3 or 4 at the line, which is good for him. 6 rebounds, 1 turnover, and 2 fouls in 17 minutes. Fine. Nothing bad at all going on there at all. All right, the super chats are rolling in. Fat Crack, who is here for us all the time. Thank you very much, Fat Crack. He says, War Eagle JG, what a game. I'm ready for a blowout so my heart can relax. Thanks as always. I have never seen a team like this going into overtime time and time again and pulling these things out, and it's crazy. Nacho Hombre, also known as Major Panty Sniffer on the bunker, says, here's Jay Lee's super chat. I know Jay Lee is going to be so stoked to see that. So thank you very much, Nacho Hombre, a.k.a. Major Panty Sniffer, for your support of what we do here on the Brain Drain. Thank you very much. Alpha Tiger said agreed. He did have a good night and was a huge part of the win, but I wouldn't let him hold a baby either. Hey, so we're going to be drinking a little bourbon tonight. Why not? Auburn won, and, and it's kind of a special situation here tonight. Tonight's bourbon is one that I had not heard of until it arrived at my house 3 days ago. It is, you guys who are on the show a lot know that we do a lot of super chatting here because you guys are incredible and really, really cool and gracious with the money and all that stuff that you guys do, and it's so appreciated. And it goes beyond that. It's really I get messages all the time from folks who like want to give me things or want to do things for the site or want to, hey, do we have any philanthropic stuff that we're doing? People are always trying to be giving and gracious. It's unbelievable. And you see a lot of the stuff on the board where people are calling each other names and acting like idiots. But you guys you would not believe the undercurrent of coolness that goes on, and you guys don't even really see it on the board, of just people trying to help other people. I mean, you saw a little bit of it when Dee Dee got sick and ended up dying. We raised like $50,000 for her treatments in Houston, and I know that helped her end of life quality to be able to fight the cancer like she did. And that was just one example of the things that go on. And hey, the things that people want to send me has nothing. It's not anywhere on the same level as what they did for Dee Dee. I'm just saying the bunker can be a very giving community. Anyway, one of our members sent me this bourbon that I had never heard of. It's called Blinking Owl Bourbon, and it is from. It says here on the label, you just can't see it, from Santa Ana, California. So we had a member who's out in Santa Ana, California, who lives near this distillery, and said, JG, I would really like for you to try this Blinking Owl Bourbon that they're making out here, and I think it's pretty good, and I think that I'd like to see what you think about it, and I'd love to send you some. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm all down for that. So big shout out to Michael M., last name redacted, who sent it along, and we're gonna have a drink of this Blinking Owl Bourbon. One thing that gives me a little concern about it is that it is the age statement is 2 years. So that's not a lot, but they're just getting started out there in California, and we'll see what happens. We're getting a lot of questions about any updates on Okoro, so I'm gonna have to check in with BMAT and see what he's got there on the floor. He and Nate are there tonight for us, so I'm going to text BMAT right now, and when he gets a chance to get back with me, I will let you guys know what he says, okay? Because he's down there talking to BP and Chad or Wes or Ira or Steven or whoever's around. We just kind of ask on that. So Melee, and I know some other folks are asking too. I will tell you immediately as soon as that comes through, okay? All right, so for the Blinking Owl, let's do this. Yo, I'm pretty fired up about this because it's been sitting in my house for a few days, and I didn't want to open it until I was on stream. And it's just incredible. People are like, hey, man, can I send you some bourbon? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I can do that. Yes. I can, yeah. You're welcome to send me bourbon, of course. And Michael wasn't the only one. Like, I've had some other folks say, hey, if you come to my house, you're welcome to anything I've got, brother. Don't ask me twice now, or don't offer that twice, because I may end up hitting it. Raven, did he say something on there? I have not been able to follow the Twitter here lately, just because I've been working on the site and stuff, on the chat rather. Fat Crack, thank you again for your second super chat of the day. To go with Nacho, he is money for Jay Lee. Here's some money for Jay Lee for some chewing stick. How about you? All right, I'll let Jay Lee know. He's going to be really fired up about that. Chip says, leg has already been amputated. That doesn't sound good, does it? Bryce says pulled hammy. Could be out a little bit, not torn. Okay, so we're breaking news here on the show. Thank you for that, Kyle W. Checking it out on the Twitter. That's what it looked like to me. Usually... And here, listen, I'm not a doctor. I am a YouTube content creator now. But my dad was a radiologist and an ER doc for his entire adult life until he retired. And I've talked to him about all these things before because he's seen them a million times. Usually a hamstring, assuming it's not torn, and BP said it's not, you're looking at, well, he's going to be in a special situation, but you're probably looking at a week and a half on the short side, and that's with daily treatment. And on the long side, you're looking at probably 3 weeks. So he's somewhere in that window. Now, it's a little bit different when you're a high-level athlete like that. You're going to recover faster because he's in great shape. He stays limber, and he's going to have a lot of treatment options available to him around the clock, basically. So you may get it down to a week, or it's probably going to be a solid week, though, because you just don't want to run the risk of redoing it again, and then now you're out 3 weeks. All right, here's the Blinking Owl. Okay. Okay, it's pretty subtle in general. It's got kind of a slow burn. Definitely not abrasive. Kind of oaky tasting, but not overly so. Better than Basil Hayden, but I think it's of that genre. So the emphasis here is kind of on smooth rather than taste. So they're not really pushing for any kind of. I don't really taste anything crazy going on here. That's a credible young bourbon, I think. Yeah, no doubt. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Zach D says pulled hamstring, not torn. Super good news. Absolutely. Kyle W adds that Bruce sounds calm about it, says he'll know more tomorrow. Well, that's good, because Bruce is not one to kind of hold back, you know? If he's scared and he's anxious about it, he'll tell you. Let's see, what was the phantom foul called on Okoro? Sorry, guys. The phantom foul called on Okoro, was I blind? Okay, so was that the hook? They called him for a hook, and when I saw it, first of all, it was a hook technically. I always think of Nolan Richardson back when I first started as a sports writer and he was at Arkansas. He would always talk about how he thinks foul should always be advantage, disadvantage. So if somebody commits something that is a foul, but it doesn't affect the play, you should let it go, because it's not an advantage or a disadvantage for anybody. In that situation, the rebound went over both Isaac and the guy he was with. The hook did not keep the guy away from getting the rebound. So there was no advantage, disadvantage to that call. Yet they called him for a hook. So I thought that was BS. I didn't like that call. But, you know, you're not going to like every call. It's solid. I mean, it's a credible bourbon. I'm sure these folks are just starting out. I mean, it's a 2-year bourbon, so it's not gonna crush. And there would be people out there, some bourbon purists, and I am not one, as you guys know, who would say, well, you know, you need to take some risks with it or whatever, and they didn't. It's pretty much right down the line. I taste some oak. I taste a little bit of maybe some vanilla in there. I don't think any of you guys are going to be able to get this because it's really not available. I mean, I never even heard of it. All right, let's take a look what's going on. I didn't mean to get off on the – you know how it is with the bourbon. I haven't had a lot of bourbon at all. I've been sick. Fortunately, Dr. On gave me a shot like 2 or 3 days ago. And, man, by the time we hit 24 hours after that, I felt a whole lot better. It was some kind of a whatever it was. All right, I'm missing some stuff here. Raven says the hook was on Macklemore. I think that was there may have been a hook on Macklemore, but they definitely called Isaac for a BS hook because he went back. Isaac went back to the ref and was kind of like not really bitching, but just asking for clarification. You know what I would do in that situation? I would say, in a sentence, tell me what I did wrong. Like, don't just say you can't do that or you hooked him. I mean, say in a sentence what happened. Because I think a lot of times they wouldn't be able to say in a sentence what happened. They don't even know. Zach notes that in soccer it's kind of advantage, disadvantage unless it's really egregious. Yeah. I feel like basketball should be that way. You know, in the NBA, they do some of that. I feel like they're better about it in the NBA. Of course, those refs are better. I've been doing it more, and they get paid more. It's tougher to get that job. Chip jokes that Ant was not using the MIT brain at the end of the game. Not a great finish to the game for Ant. But he played pretty well. Johnny K says, building character for a title run, never quit playing. It ain't over till the Tigers win. Kind of feels that way lately, doesn't it? They always just find a way, man. And people out there are wondering, how in the world does this happen? How does Auburn keep getting into overtime and keep winning? And it's crazy. It is weird that Auburn never trailed in this game. Obviously, it was tied 0-0. It was tied at the end of regulation, and then Auburn got out in overtime and stayed ahead. Kind of odd. Call me Biscuit. Sorry, guys. I'm still coughing a little bit, but I do feel a lot better. Let's see. Daniel N says, get JGT some deer antler spray. Hey, I hope you come back to the site one of these days, or maybe you have, because we miss you being around, bro. That's for Daniel N right there. Melee says JG is now immune to the coronavirus. Not quite yet, my man. We got a super chat coming in from Hornatius, who goes by Love the Cats. Says, you are a nerd in one sentence. Thank you. Just say it in a sentence. There you go. You got a subject. You got a verb. Subject and predicate. Thank you for that, sir. I knew that you were a guy who could make a good, clean sentence on that. Call Me Biscuit says, give Okoro a full 16 days and bring him back 229 at Kentucky. Interesting idea. So 16 days away for UK. I would think he'd be back before that. But I don't know. I'm not the one looking at him. I haven't looked at the MRI. I'm hoping to get that around 1 a.m. Triple Wood with the right attitude says, screw a hook. Just tackle the guy. I like it. I think that those refs may have a problem with you tackling somebody, though. I don't know. Depends on who it is. If it's Kentucky, they'll probably be all right. There's no doubt. All right, so some other things to look at on this score sheet. My gosh, 22 of 58 from 3 for Alabama. Auburn finishes. This printout right here says Auburn had 59 rebounds. I think they were officially credited with 60 because I printed this one out, or whatever you want to call it, right as the game ended, and I think they went in and amended it. So Auburn actually finished with 60 rebounds to 44 for Alabama, so that's plus 16, and that's a huge, huge deal. I mean, hell, Austin had 17 himself. Huge night for him. That was a very prototypical Austin Wiley night, right? You can't get him the ball, but he will go fight for it. He'll get you rebounds and he'll stick the ball back in. And he had a really nice, I think it was a second possession of overtime where they did actually run something for him. He got his feet set. They gave him the 1.5 second, grace period. Then got the ball to him, and he initiated a little hook. It's nice. A little baby hook, I should say. Raven asks a good question. The team only has so much luck in the tank for a season. Are we using ours too early? I understand where you're coming from, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but you just kind of got to go with it. Yeah, I mean, if it was a perfect world, you wouldn't try to use it all the time this time of the year. But, you do what you got to do to win basketball games. It's crazy to me, too, man. I can't believe this happened. AU Boss says Gus ruined the TV broadcast. I did not watch. I wasn't really watching the TV broadcast. I was listening to radio because, honestly, and it's my opinion, Andy's so good at basketball broadcasting that I don't really have to watch the game. So I sit in here and listen on the radio and do some other stuff. And then when I hear a play where Andy's particularly incensed or there's something unusual going on in the game, then I'll go here next door and check it out. But anyway, Zach D says 18-17 is crazy in college. Absolutely. Chris M., who is a bunker luminary. I won't tell you. I won't say what his handle is, though, if you don't know what it is. Says 22 threes made and 58 attempted are both SEC records. Pretty incredible. Absolutely. Imagine hitting all those threes and losing. Torre says Gus was mean mugging at the camera. Good golly. Was he really? Nah. He doesn't need to be doing that. I think less TV for Gus, the better. No, there's no doubt. I think we need to see Christie on TV more. You know what? Here's the thing I would tell you about Gus. So this summer, Gus and Christie invited the writers to come up to his house. And as I've told you before, I hang out with Christie in those situations because Gus, And my wife and I were working on Christie I want her to write a column for auburnsports.com. And I finally had gotten her open to the idea, and she was like, yeah, I know I could do it. I'd like to do it. Well, let's just see what Gus says. Now, I think she said that because she knew what Gus was going to say, but she did take it to Gus, and he was like, no, we can't do that. I was like, give me some. Show me love, Gus. Come on. No, I can't do that. But I was wondering if we could get her on the horn next year, maybe, like for a pre-season show or something. Special guest, Christy Malzahn. I would do that. Call Me Biscuit says the sweater puppies are out tonight. Listen, man, I have a pug puppy, and I think he's really cool. I can't even imagine. I've never heard of a sweater dog, but I'm sure a sweater puppy is cute. I don't know. Love the Cats indicates that she has at least two, because he says nice sweater puppies, too. I didn't see them when I was at their house, but we'll see. William M. says about why was Gus mean mugging? Why is everyone so mean to Gus? Warwick asks, rhetorically, I believe. And William says because he sucks. Aw, that's not very nice. Raven asks a good question, or Raven, I'm sorry. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. I'm sorry. Says Austin needs to get some reps with Seth Williams and the receivers. Took a pass straight to the chest and went straight through the mitts. Sounds like we need to get Cody Burns on the sideline. Coach Cody Burns. Going to coach him up. Catch those balls, yo. Zach M says she's crazy. She's actually not. She would fit in right here. She's just energetic and opinionated, and I like that about people. Damon K says getting her on for a brain drain after a loss would be gold. It really would, man. There's nothing I would like. Actually, she would be my number one person to have on the show because, Gus would be like, but Christy would actually tell you stuff, Williams says YouTube would not let him use the real world or the real word. Ay. Melee asks a good question. What would it take for Austin to catch a ball and not double clutch? Just jump 10 inches and dunk. He did some of that tonight. I thought he had a couple of those where I'm like, here he goes. He's going to go down. And then he didn't. He actually just kind of kept the ball high and went back up. So, Auburn Orange and Blues, he makes a statement. We need more big men. Yep, sure do. Stretch going, you look at next year, Austin's going to be gone. Stretch is going to be your guy. And I personally don't think Stretch is I don't think he's a long-term solution at 5. I think he's a long-term solution at 5 the way that Anthony's a long-term solution at 5. I don't think he is. Anthony is kind of a, I don't want to say he's a one-trick pony, but he's a two-trick pony. It is what he is. And they're going to need more than Stretch going forward. They tried to get Walker Kessler. He's going to end up going to, he's going to end up going elsewhere, North Carolina. And, it's still working. I tell you, though, if they get Jalen Green, and we're talking about basketball here, Jalen Green is not a center per se, but he's a difference maker. You've got Sharif and you've got Jalen Green and you've got some of these other dudes. They're going to be a year better. You don't have to worry about 5 as much. You just tear them up 1 through 4 and see what happens. Canoe Man says, yes, Christy would be a great brain drain guest or even a co-host. Absolutely. Kyle W. This one's actually, you're tricking me out here. It says, yo, GGT, call me on brain drain so I can add you as my emergency contact. I actually had my nephew called me like 3 or 4 days ago doing that for me. Do you know something? My nephew called me. I hadn't talked to him since 6 months maybe. He called me to add me as his emergency contact. I was like, well, I mean, I'm welcome to do that, but what's up? How you been? Blinking Al Bourbon. The pride of Santa Ana, California. Alpha Tiger asks, will Gus Malzahn ever sign another offensive tackle? He signs JUCO guys. You're asking about high school. High upside high school offensive tackles. And I don't know the answer to that question. My guess is that Coach Bick is going to try to break that string. Raven says, I fear that Austin will be remembered more for what he hasn't given us than what he could. I don't know, man. I'm going to remember Austin, probably, assuming that things continue on their current track, as a guy who struggled early in his career due to injuries, and he put it together for a great senior year. And I don't even know if I'm going to remember that he got in trouble with Chuck or whatever, Chuck Person. I mean, it happened, and he sat out a long time, and a lot of us thought he was going to leave, and he didn't. And he put it together, and he's pretty good this year. He's not the dominating kind. Well, he's dominating in certain ways. I would not call him a multifaceted dominating player. But it's clear that opponents are having a hard time dealing with his presence in the paint because he gets a lot of stickbacks, he gets a lot of rebounds, and he's generally just a pain in the ass in there. But no, he's not a Kevin Love tear you up kind of center, no. Warx says, how's Midtown tonight, JGT? Guess what? I don't live there. Joke's on you, bro. I live out east. So things are looking good out here on Vaughn Road near the Troy Highway. You're welcome to come by and see me at the office, otherwise known as the Tipping Point, if you'd like to come hang out. Bro. Corny says, ja, 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 ja. We had a thread on the bunker earlier tonight about ja, 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 ja. I just thought it was a Georgia dig, and it turns out I don't think it was. It just kind of got away from me a little bit. Fat Crack says we only hit 7 threes and still won the game. 7 of 31, yeah. But look at the disparity at the free throw line, dude. They scored 9 at the free throw line. Auburn scores 26, which is that's the way Auburn rolls now, right? They're not good shooters, but they are becoming a very good driving team. You're just basically trying to wake up Samir. He was that way at VCU, and then he wasn't last year, and they're kind of reawakening him as a driver. Javon, of course, is a good driver. Isaac's a good driver. We'll have to see how long Isaac's going to be out, but I don't think it's going to be too long. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule. So you got at Missouri, which, if this is football season, I would say that's a trap game. I don't know as though you could really call it a trap game, though, because Auburn's kind of it's not like Auburn's on a roll here where they're like, oh, everything's coming easy, it's all good. They're having to fight really hard to get all of these. But Missouri's one of those teams that generally isn't very good, but they'll sneak up on you. And every now and then they are really good. So you got to kind of be on guard. Georgia got, they went down big to South Carolina tonight, at least in the first half. They were down. I think they were down 18 at the half, and they lost by about 18. So Georgia's having their own troubles. They have one really good player and not much else at this point. And then Tennessee is down this year, but Auburn has trouble at Tennessee in general. So I don't know. And you guys know how I feel about Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is, I'm not going to say they're underrated. I just think they're capable of a lot more than they've done so far. I mean, when you're 3-7 in the league, I don't know what they did tonight or what they're doing right now, but I think they're going to end up being a lot better than they'd started. They were 1-7 to start. They're better than that. We got a super chat coming in from Sparrow Empire. Thank you so much for being part of the show again. You're always here for us, and I appreciate that. It says, Jay, if the team needs extra masseuses, nice plural of masseuses, pass along my YouTube handle. All hands on deck, literally if necessary. That is what I call a true Auburn supporter right there. Even willing to do some of that. Call Me Biscuit says, I should have thought of this. Just give your nephew the number to the tipping point. Melee says nephew wants you to be his bail call. Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? Yo, check out Nate's post-game notes on Bruce. Okay, I can do that. I just have, I'm on a show with you guys, and I don't really have a chance to read what's up. Hope he has the MRI on here. I'm going to be pissed. He's getting demoted. All right, Nate says, oh, this is just the stuff that you've already mentioned, Kyle. But thank you for bringing that up. Pearl said, he didn't rip it, but he could be out a little bit. Pearl said Auburn will evaluate Okoro more closely Thursday morning. He had 19 points. Yeah, he was having a really good game. At least he was still their leading scorer, and he missed all the important stuff in overtime. BP said, I don't think it's anything structural. I would venture to say it would take a lot not only to injure him, but to take him out. So if he's out, it's because he can't go. He's such a tough kid. And we'll see what happens with that one. Canoe Man says, how is East Town tonight, JGT? Well, I was a little nervous earlier. I heard, for the third time, like right before the game ended, for the third time today, I heard a chopper in the area. I was like, what's going on, I didn't think they were coming after me, but I thought they might have been looking for somebody out here, but it was just passing through. I don't know. HBZ says Austin Wiley equals Jason Campbell according to JG. That's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, they have kind of similar personalities too. Although J Cam's a little more. I don't know. I like them both though. Jason's problems early in his career probably are more related to changing coordinators and just having a hard time grasping what was going on because they kept switching it on him, which really wasn't even his fault. And so he was just kind of caught up in the processing of everything instead of just flowing as a player. And then later in his career, he actually had a little bit of stability there, and then he was good. And then he went on to play in the NFL for a while. With Austin, I don't think it's really system. It's more like his legs were just giving him so much trouble. And he really couldn't stay on the court rather. And then, of course, the Chuck Person situation. Yeah, that's a different deal there. Let's see. Warren says, JG, I'm stuck in a car with a driver that won't pull over. Tell him to let me pee. Listen, driver, there's a lot of bad things that can happen to a man if he doesn't have a chance to urinate when it's time to go. You can have terminal loss of feeling in your fourth metatarsal. It happens. You don't think it will, but it does. It sneaks up on you. Sometimes your hair can change color in an instant. It's devastating for people that have it happen to them. So please, give him a chance. Warren, I'm working on your behalf here, brother. I hope that helps. Fat Crack says 230 people on this chat line, JG becoming a celebrity. No way. Absolutely not. I'm just a YouTube content creator. Yes, Ken Palm, Johnny Be Good mentioning about Ken Palm. I bet you Auburn has not moved up very much in Ken Palm, have they? Currently, I see them currently ranked. It dropped, baby. Of course they did. They're down to 32. I think they were 30 when this game opened. What's saying 31. So right after the game, I checked. This was before that game was entered. I think some of the other games of the night had been entered, but not Auburn, Alabama. And so they had moved up to 30. And then once the game was entered, they have dropped down to 32. So, yep. Yet again. Let's take a look at, I want to see some of this, like where they are on luck. I forget how to pull that up here live on the stream. Kind of bonking. Dadgummit. Wish y'all could. I wish y'all could figure that out. Well, where's my intern? Let's see what this, if there's anything I can gather from this. So they named Austin Wiley MVP. Ken Palm did, which doesn't surprise me at all. 18 points, 17 boards, as I mentioned earlier, and 5 blocks. It's a very multifaceted performance there. Although John Petty was the highest rated player on the court from a scoring perspective, a 168 offensive rating. He finished with 20 points, 6 of 11 from 3. Goodness golly. That's incredible. Yeah. The Ken Palm thing, and the people in the bunker get really agitated about this. Ken Palm's various algorithms take into account the concept of what he calls luck. And being a lucky team in his world, in his statistical world, is a bad thing. Or it's a reasonably bad thing. I think it's more about what he's calling luck. I would call a delta or something like that. So he's using his algorithms to determine what Auburn's record should be based on its statistical footprint. And we all know that it's hard to win overtime games. It's really hard to be 100% in overtime games. But Auburn's found a way, to Auburn's credit. But you look at this team, they're not very good shooting. They're currently ranked, let's see, Division I, they're bottom third in three-point shooting. Of course, they're top 10% in two-point shooting. They're bottom third in free throw shooting. And defensively, I mean, they're good. They're not awesome. They're very good at rim protection. And they're solid everywhere else, but they're not awesome. And even BP said it himself, you know, our statistical footprint is not that of a team that's really dominant. And we know that from watching them, that they're not dominant. They're just good and they get it done, right? So I would imagine that when Ken Palm puts together all of his statistical analyses, he probably sees a team that's probably 17 and whatever, 7. Maybe 18 and 6 or something like that. And then Auburn's actually 22 and 2. So that's like a, 4-game delta? Which means Auburn is outperforming statistical expectations by 4 games, which he doesn't know what to call that. I would call it a delta. I would call it a deviation from expected to actual. He's calling that luck. And I understand why. I mean, you could kind of see that. Well, you know, if you didn't earn it statistically, then it doesn't really mean that it doesn't really exist. You're just lucky. I don't see it that way, but I could see how somebody would describe it as such. Sorry, guys. I've still got a little bit of a cough. It's been 2 weeks now, dude. 2 weeks I've been sick. Andrew B says, JGT, mix some of that 5th tier bourbon. How dare you? How dare you say this mean stuff about this ambitious company making bourbon out in California. How dare you? Mix some of that bourbon with some honey and lemon juice for that cough, my man. It's the elixir of the gods. Well, I don't have any honey or lemon juice. I just have sweater puppies and elixir. So here goes. And they're not my sweater puppies. They're somebody else's. Bo is great. My man. Not Boise, though. He says, has Auburn replaced Kentucky as the basketball blue blood of the SEC? Yeah, I don't know about that yet. Don't know about that yet. Let's take a look at the standings. I've got them updated. They're not quite centered, though. My bad. Sorry about that. You just have to live with it. Auburn's still tied atop the standings. They call it the table in European soccer at 9-2 in league play. Tied with Kentucky and Louisiana State. Although Auburn has wins over both of those teams, Auburn does not play LSU again, and Auburn does play at Kentucky in late February. So that is something to look forward to. South Carolina with a win over Georgia tonight moves up to 7-4. Man, whew. You know, it's like with all the where Ole Miss obviously won tonight. Good. I'm fired up for them. I just like that team, man. They're better than they've shown. They were 1-7, and I was on the pod I do with Neil saying, dude, they're going to get a lot hotter. And he was like, don't know, man. I was like, that team can play. I promise they can. Excuse me, guys. Somehow my watch says I just hit 10,000 steps today. You guys know I haven't moved. Why's my hair all messed up? I don't know. Love the Cat says, take another shot. All right, I'll do it. And the Canoe Man's in the house. Canoe Man says, whose sweater puppies are you referring to? Hey, all I'm saying is that somebody here on the show said that Christy has 2 puppies. So I was just referencing, well, at least 2, because you use plural. I'd like to see a picture of these dogs. Because, I was over there in July. I didn't see them. So maybe they're new. Could be. This one's for you, Hornacious. One of my most favorite bunker posters. And certainly one of my 3 favorite horns. Blinking owl, baby. Chip says each cough is worth like 20 crunches. Oh, goodness. Oh, I'm sorry. Georgia says Ole Miss beat State by 25 last night. Okay, my bad. Sorry, guys. I missed that. So that's good. Good for Ole Miss anyway. Mississippi State slides a little bit. It's kind of a sorted group here, bunch. I mean, look. This league's not great. I mean, Auburn's going to the tournament. Kentucky, LSU, they're all going to the tournament. I think Florida's going to get better, and they're going to get to the tournament. So that leaves your bubble teams will be South Carolina. Can't believe they're even in the conversation. I don't think they have a lot of talent. Mississippi State, I think they're better than 6-5. They should be. They're unlucky. Tennessee is not very good. A&M's not good. Alabama's not very good. Arkansas's not very good. Ole Miss is upwardly mobile. Missouri's not good. Georgia's terrible, and Vanderbilt's terrible. So this is going to be a very thin year for the SEC. Corny says, thank you, first of all. Thank you for the super chat, Corny. Any chance you could post a pic of BMAT lying in bed while calling into the brain train? So on home games, BMAT, I doubt BMAT's going to be at the house. I still haven't heard back from BMAT yet. It's crazy. Checking in with him again to make sure he's all right. Sometimes he gets a little anxious, a lot going on. Kyle D has really made my night by saying Seton Hall and the Louisville Cardinals both go down tonight. Don't care about Seton Hall, but I always like hearing that Louisville goes down. Doesn't bother me. Nope. Not upset about that at all. Only time I pull for Louisville is when they're playing Duke. And they beat Duke like 2 weeks ago at Duke. Very sad. Very sad. I even find myself cheering for North Carolina now when they're playing Duke. I don't like North Carolina either. But I just can't stand Duke. You guys know about that. You guys know how I feel about that. I'm not going to go into that. Love the cat says B-Matt's laying in bed and he's out of breath. I wonder what he's doing. We need to get Yvonne on the show and find out. Still haven't heard from B-Matt. B-Matt's one of those guys, man. He gets pretty serious. He gets pretty intense. He's writing that game story, getting those quotes, transcribing. Serious about it. Bradley G says Louisville's low down. They dirty. They some snitches. Don't like Louisville. Okay, Melee says Okoro will be recovered before B-Matt gets into his pajamas. Thank you for the super chat, Corny, Canoe Man, and Hornatius. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. Always here. All three of you. Amanda M says, love seeing teams go down ahead of us. I can't believe we aren't in the top 10 yet. Got to believe that's coming, right? The Bunker was getting upset the other day by some Yahoo, I didn't even see where he was from, that was saying that he had Auburn at 24, I think, and he had this long justification. And I used to vote in these things. I didn't vote in basketball. I voted in football. And this was like the year. It was a year that Iowa had the good quarterback. I want to say his name was like Brad Banks or something like that. And he was really good, but that team was just kind of blah. And I kept voting them in like the 15 range, and they got up as high as like 5 or 6 or something. And these Iowa people would just come at me, yo. Ragging my ass for, you don't respect Iowa. And I was like, it's Iowa. They're playing like Northwestern and Illinois and Western Michigan, and I don't care. I just don't. I'm not persuaded. And maybe some of these dudes and gals out there who are voting are like, hey, I'm not persuaded by these wins that Auburn has over Ole Miss and Iowa State and South Carolina. I mean, they should be moved a little bit by the Kentucky win and the LSU win. They're pretty good. But even I think people in Boise or people in Sacramento or people in Bedford, they don't care about LSU. They're like, yo, is Shaq there? Is Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf there? No, it's a bunch of dudes I don't know. And Trent Watford. Maybe they're just not moved by that. I don't know. It doesn't help that Ken Palm isn't very impressed. Not that it matters. I mean, all it really matters is where the committee puts them, right? Patrick J says it perfectly. He says AP poll doesn't mean shit. That's a bad word, by the way, but still. It's true. AP poll are just like, writers voting. And I think a lot of them take the vote very seriously and others don't. And, it's just kind of like regular life. It doesn't bother me, though. I think Auburn was 11 this last week, and with Louisville going down, you think Auburn might slide up into the top 10, and I think it's, yeah. We got a super chat coming in from Nacho Hombre, your second of the night, otherwise known as Major Panty Sniffer, saying, this is for your copay at the doc tomorrow. I hope I don't have to go back, but I may. Dr. On is getting tired of seeing me, yo. So I go to the doctor. This is, let's see, we did the last show on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, and then I was not feeling good, and then Sunday was worse, and then Monday was really bad, and I decided to go see Doctor on Monday morning. So I go in there, and a couple weird things happened there. First of all, a bunker member came in and was like, "Are you Jay?" I was like, "Indeed, I am." And so we started talking. It was actually Gus Muss from the bunker, who posts a lot. He's posting today, and yeah, and then it turns out that another bunker member who I met at Voodoo the next day, his wife and his son were in there at the same time. And they knew I was there. They were like, they saw you. I was like, well, why didn't they say anything? I don't know. Chris M says, Dr. On is the truth. Love that guy. I'm glad you know who I'm talking about, yo, out on Vaughn Road. I don't understand a lot of what he's saying. And I think he spoke maybe 4 sentences to me when I was in there the other day. I didn't understand 2 of them, and I had to say, come again. It's like I'm just trying to get every third word, but he gives me the shot, and I feel better, and I give him a big hug, and, we're good. We're good like that. I like that. You just kind of go in and get your shot and get out. William M. says Auburn is now in the 15th in the net, which is the official number that the NCAA uses allegedly when they sit down and kind of hammer out brackets. Remember, guys, that when they actually make the brackets, it's an imperfect way to do it. I mean, it's It's fine, and I like the way they do it, but it ain't like some computer program seeds these. It's real people in a real room who are kind of looking at storylines. You know this because there's too many things that just kind of work out as you move along. But they set up the teams to set up storylines within reason. They're not going to make a Duke, like a 6 seed to make it work. But Chip says JGT's regional celebrity status is trending. Oh, yeah. In the Vaughn Road corridor, 1 in 35 people recognize me because of my hair. Triplewood, I don't really know where you're going with this, but we're going to break this down. Triplewood says, doesn't mean crap. Does that mean it means more than crap? Or does it mean gold? These are good questions. I don't really know what that means. Corny says JGT is a Vegas celeb. 1 in every 35,000 Las Vegans know me, know of me. That includes the 2 people who own Voodoo and you, Corny. So if there's more than 90,000 people, there's probably more than 90,000 people, aren't there? In greater Las Vegas, like in that actual downtown area? I don't know. Alpha Tiger, man, I'm telling you, you're going to have to give it a break, brother. He's asking more questions about Gus. We're not talking about Gus. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about a team that's 22-2. They're going to win 30 games this year. Back up, yo. Super chat coming in from StewPup74, who comes through every single show. In fact, I wonder if StewPup's even missed a show since like 98. I feel like when I was at the Hobotten, Stu was there. And then when I was over here, Stu's been here. And I appreciate you, bro. His question, do you think AU loses focus too often during games? Seems like they get up 7 to 10 points, the defense gambles more, and guys start looking for theirs. I think that there is something to what you're saying, but I don't think it's about getting theirs. I think it's just does Auburn lose focus too often during games? Yes. I would say yes to that. Because you need more professors out there. Jared was a professor. Chuma was a professor in his own way. It's kind of like he'd get really locked in, right? Bryce would get really locked in as second semester junior and all of his senior year. He learned how to get really locked in. Who gets really locked in this team? Isaac. Isaac does, no doubt. Austin? Kind of. D'Angelo, no. Anthony, I give him half credit. Samir, not really. Javon, not really. So there you go. There's your lineup. There's not enough professors out there. Isaac's the only one that I would call legitimately 100% fully into the game all the time. So I don't think it's about getting theirs. I think they do just lose focus. Just kind of like they're just going to go what they call open. They're just going to run where the ball goes opposite of where the post is, and they're just going to kind of run it. Let's run some weave. Let's just kind of figure it out and just kind of run like an organic offense. I think they would prefer to do that. I think if left to their own devices, they would do that a lot instead of running structured plays, which they do some, particularly out of bounds. Auburn is among the very, very best teams in the country at out-of-bounds plays, end lines, sidelines. They're really good at that. They've been really good at that. It's just something that Bruce, it's like one of his pet projects. It's like one of those things that he's really passionate about, and they're really good at it. They do that stuff really well. Other times they just kind of float in and out of the game mentally. I think it drives BP crazy, and I think he's trying to get to the bottom of it every day in practice. He gathers up Samir and Javon and Turbo, his point guards, and he says, I need you to be better at running stuff. I need you to communicate it better. I need you to call it out better. And we have to be better about this. And you've got to fix it because I can only call it. And we go through this in practice and you guys run it and everything's fine. Then we get out into a game and it doesn't work. You got to take responsibility for that. They do it all the time. Anyway, Raven says, JG, your thoughts on the offensive system we have installed. I mean, it's pretty much the same stuff that they run all the time. It's just that they emphasize downhill driving more versus, what we call pick and roll rollers, pick and roll ball screen. They don't run as much of that. They're not trying to get threes lifted up because that's not really what they do. So it's a little bit different. But, I mean, they're running the same basic stuff when you're talking about, 2 down or 2 up. And the basic sets that he's calling out are very similar. I think they run more open than they used to, which is when you have the ball opposite the post or you're big, Austin or Ant, and you just kind of roll. They do more of that this year. And I think part of that is because you have less experience. We talked about the mental locking in mentally. I don't think they have as many guys that do that. And so I don't think you can run as much structured stuff this year. And you don't have as many good shooters. But I think the system is basically the same. That's kind of how I see it. Alpha Tiger has a very tall order for me here. Can you get me one of Bruce's suits after a big win? Pre-cleaning. Ooh, they get pretty wet, don't they? God bless that guy. He's a sweater. He really is a sweater. Chris says, I thought you just said let's run some weed. Nah, weave. Put your weave in it, man. William M. says Cambridge greater than Jamal. I tend to agree with that. I think Cambridge is almost as good a shooter as Jamal is. And I think Cambridge is a semi-credible defender, whereas Jamal is a poor defender. So, yes. And we saw that tonight. Jamal had a bad game. Jamal just couldn't stay in front of anybody. He was a defensive liability. He didn't play a lot. And it's kind of becoming that way with him. They basically put him in there as a heat check because sometimes Jamal hits threes. He's got a pretty good percentage. And if he's going to start hitting, then they'll live with the defensive problems or shortcomings. But if they put him in there and he misses his first couple shots, man, it's like, let's give Devin. We know Devin can hit 7 in a game. We'll see what happens. I'm sure they wish they had a better defensive option off the bench to defend guards, and Jamal ain't that guy. Raven says, lack of a system. There is no motion off the ball. They do get stuffy sometimes. And I think it has to do with that question we had earlier about locking in. I just don't know if they lock in often enough. But they do some, and they do have some individuals that are good at what they do. So, Samir's a good driver. Javon's a good driver. Okoro is just a really good player. He can do a lot of different stuff. He's having a really good game until he got hurt. Melee says you can tell Auburn is not a blue blood because there's not enough negativity after this win. Right? This is a football game. Everybody be up in arms. Angry. How did it get so close? Maybe not over Alabama. But like Alabama in basketball is not like Alabama in football, right? Alabama in basketball is more like a pretty good Ole Miss team. I'm sorry, Mississippi State team, maybe. Maybe in football. I mean, like Alabama's not. Nobody's celebrating a win over Alabama. I mean, Auburn is tonight, but I mean, no one beats Alabama and says, "Yeah, hell yeah, now we've arrived." You might do that in football. Jason Turner says, I'm late to the party. First of all, Jason, thank you very much for your super chat. No message included, but that's okay. We still love you, and I love you. Thank you for that. I think I might have been your first. Don't know. He asks, I am late to the party tonight. What are we drinking? We are drinking, and I'm drinking not a lot because I still don't feel great. Been sick for like 2 weeks, but I do think I'm about over it. We're drinking this Blinking Owl sent to me by, sent to me by Michael M., a viewer/subscriber out in California. This is a bourbon, a 2-year-old bourbon out of Santa Ana, California. He was gracious enough to send this to me. We've been sipping on this as well. Why Not AU has arrived, or maybe has been here lurking and has dropped in. In fact, I know he just arrived. He says, Fear and Loathing in the Salt Lake City airport drops a $200 super chat. My goodness. That's the biggest super chat we have taken the whole time. Unbelievable. Why Not AU? Thank you so much. You're always here for us too, man. I hate to hear that you're stuck in the Salt Lake City airport, though. I know Benny was out there in March. Ben Wolk, for you folks who are not aware. I don't know as though he had a good time out there, but he didn't have a good time going. Whew, man, that's incredible. Why Not AU? Good golly, Miss Molly. We need to have like a horn or something. I need to like punish myself somehow, like the Jackass guys do when a super chat comes in like that. Like I just get punched in the face by a boxing machine or something. I don't know. That way you guys could do that and just enjoy that. Fat Crack says, JG, show Jay Lee the super chat and say this is way more than 25 cents. Speaking of that, let's get Jay Lee on because I haven't heard back from Brian yet. Again, he gets kind of locked in. So I wouldn't mind to get Jay Lee on the horn. We were talking about it yesterday. We did the rundown yesterday at Voodoo in Auburn, and I mentioned to him getting him on the horn, and he was like, hell yeah, he is. He's a can-do kind of guy. So we'll see if we can get Jay Lee on the horn. Also wouldn't mind to get Nathan on the horn, too. I'll tell you what, I'll holler at Nathan right now and get this set up. I know he had some fans on the show. He's a very he puts a lot of words and a lot of analysis in a very short period of time. All right. Got some text out here and see what happens. Jay Lee ought to get back to me pretty soon because he's not writing. I know that. Sometimes Jay Lee, there he is. He is ready to go. So we will get Jay. There we go. Get Jay Lee on the horn here. I always do that.
Yo.
Who I got on the horn here? What up, bro?
How's it going, man?
Well, another day in paradise. We're just sitting here. We had some super chats for you, Jay Lee.
For real?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Fat Crack.
Fat Crack popped my cherry.
Yeah, well, I don't know as though it was your cherry, but he hooked you up, man.
My super chat cherry.
Hell yeah. I feel like Ruxpin did that a couple weeks ago for you, too, though.
You holding out on me?
No, hell no. I mean, I just saw you yesterday.
Oh.
I take care of you. I try to get you guys out to lunch as often as I can, bro.
You did good, man. You did good.
You guys never have to pay for any meals with me, yo.
So nice.
I wonder if we had any people take up the rundown sauce at Voodoo today.
I'm fairly optimistic after listening to Miss Marge. As we were leaving, she said, hey, we've got a lot of people that come in here, pretty good little following.
Yeah.
You know what she said?
Absolutely, that's what she said. I know Jan and Michael have said the same thing. So, of course, we thank our subscribers and listeners and viewers for going to Voodoo because I'm telling you, it really is good.
I mean, it's one thing to get them in there, but the food, it just keeps them coming back.
No, there's no doubt. I like to go there. Me and Christy do. Yeah. Your thoughts on this win, man? 91-95 victory in overtime over the hated Crimson Tide. Your thoughts?
Man, Auburn got the tables turned on them tonight.
A little bit, yeah.
We're used to seeing Auburn come back from 16 down, tie it, going to overtime and win, and we got to see Auburn blow the big lead. Some turnovers there at the end, but Alabama, man, they were hotter than $2 pistol. They were hitting everything they threw up. What were the final 3-point shots on Alabama?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean over 30.
Yeah, they finished. Well, they finished
30 because it was in 90.
They were 22 of 58 from the 3-point line.
So basically, 1 out of every 3.
Yeah, and that was a SEC record for most hit and most attempted. So there you go.
Wow.
How about that?
That was impressive shooting performance. That's kind of like what we got to expect from Auburn last year. I didn't know Alabama could shoot that well this year. I don't know that they typically do that. They sure did tonight. But still, man, this team just finds a way to win. It's almost like they find a way to either get back in it or to lose the lead. They find a way to get it close. Like you said, I think on the rundown Tuesday, it's almost like they're more comfortable playing from behind.
Yeah, they are.
And I will say this: I didn't know if Auburn was going to be able to close this one out when he went into overtime. I think Anthony missed those 2 free throws there at the end to make it. Could have been a 2-possession game. He missed both, and then Petty comes down and hits one from 30 feet. No, it was at the one his foot was almost on the line. And then that last possession in regulation was, I still don't understand what Javon was doing. He dribbles down, he just sits at the top of the key, and
not a great
Austin
possession.
came and set an on-ball screen, and then rotated to the basket. And I thought Javon could have hit him there. but instead he pops back out and throws up a three that was not even close. It almost looked like he was throwing an alley-oop to a ghost. I mean, it was 3 feet off to the right. It was. He made me feel like I might still have a chance to play ball.
We have one of the super chatters says this caller sucks like Minor. That's not very nice. Taking a shot at those Minor high school
He's
graduates.
Probably from that Hicks school, Pleasant Grove or somewhere.
Sparrow Empire offered a super chat and asks, ask Jay Lee what you would put our percentage odds at on landing Jalen Green. You got a percentage on that?
I mean, the easy answer here is 50. But I probably just because I really do think in the end he comes to Auburn, I would go maybe just over 50 to 55, something like that.
50 to 55.
I do not think I'm not as confident as a lot of people are, and I've said this many times before. If anybody thinks they know where this kid's going or where he's leaning, they're just guessing. But I know that Auburn's cautiously optimistic. They're fairly confident that they're gonna get the kid. That they've got a really good chance to get him. But you know they were confident with Walker Kessler. They were pretty confident with B.J. Boston.
They were. You
know, basketball recruiting is a different animal than football recruiting. You just never know. And one thing is, a lot of the unknowns with basketball recruiting is in basketball recruiting as opposed to football recruiting, you don't get a lot of interviews with the kids. You know, football recruiting, if they step out the door to go on a visit, go to a camp, go wherever, a game, a practice, there's going to be a microphone in their face, and typically they're going to give an interview. So you're going to have at least some idea of what's going on in their recruitment, and it's coming straight from the source.
Yeah.
Basketball's not like that. Now, any chance I've ever had to interview a basketball recruit in person, I've hardly ever, I can remember, besides maybe E.J. Montgomery, anyone declining my interview.
They love talking.
If you come to visit Auburn on a visit, and I'm there, I think my success rate is extremely high. But I just don't think it's like that other places. And I'm not saying I'm doing anything wrong. I don't know if they're just not used to it or they don't get it like the football recruits do. But we just don't see the consistent interviews with basketball guys that we do in football. So there's always so much unknown, which is why I came out with the hoop scoops, because if I'm not getting insider information, you know, you're not going to have much at all, if any at all, information on the basketball recruits. So the least I can do is get, you know, what I can get from the Auburn perspective.
Yeah, word. You're doing a hell of a job with it too. Cattywampus says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jay Lee. Go ahead."
I was just going to say, sometimes it's dead on, but even the guys closest to the recruitment, they don't really know because there's just so much unknown with basketball recruiting. But you know, we do our best to give our subscribers an idea of at least what's going on in Auburn.
Word. Cattywampus on the chat says Jay Lee looks like Mike from Breaking Bad, because I have a little mugshot of you from several years ago, which is actually cool as hell. F Bama.
First of all, cattywampus is one of my most favorite words. Love that word.
There you go, Catty.
Favorite. I actually watched Better Call Saul today, and Mike's
there you go,
superstar on that show.
Absolutely. Call Me Biscuit.
I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's very disappointing. It's very lackluster. But
Call Me Biscuit super chatted you as well. Did you hear that?
No, you didn't. I didn't hear that.
Call Me Biscuit. He super chatted you as well. He said, "Give Jay Lee 25 cents." That's pretty nice.
Call Me Biscuit, man.
Damn right, dude.
I love to soak a biscuit. My egg yolk, fried egg, over easy. Soak that stuff out with a biscuit.
Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. I'm relating to all these guys, man. You feel?
Yeah, you should probably hop on the channel every now and then. They love you, man. You're a very popular element, Jay Lee.
Well,
all right, man. We'll wrap it up there.
It's not a bunch of hot ladies.
I want you. I'm sure there are some. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. You behave yourself out there, and I will holler at you.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for all the super chats. Desserts on me next week.
All right, man. See ya.
Peace.
Jeffrey Lee, ladies and gentlemen. And I tried to get all the questions we had for him, where it was really just one, to him on the horn. Nate has gotten back with us, and he will be ready momentarily. So we're going to add Nate. Yeah, here in just like 1 minute, I'm going to call him here. Let's see. Bradley G. I know I missed a lot of stuff here. I want to go through these super chats. Warren C. super chatted earlier. I believe Warren was the one who needed to go to the bathroom, and the damn driver wouldn't let him. That was very disappointing. I've seen that situation play out in my car before, and it ended poorly for my friend Sam Arnold years ago. Warren's super chat, I've tried to make sense of this twice, and I feel like I'm missing something, but he says, tell Barron to quit listening to his divorce lawyer and get out there and play ball, pop his divorce cherry. Thank you, Warren, and I hope that you have been able to, find somewhere to urinate. That'd be great. All right, so now we're going to add Sir Nathan King, our man on one of our two men on the scene, I should say. Let me type this in real quick, and we will get. No, I'm calling Jeffrey back. I do that all the time. I'm terrible about that. Oh man. No, I forgot he changed his number, didn't he? He's got that number from Orlando. Remember, he's claiming Orlando now. All right. Let's get young Nate on the horn.
Hey, hello?
Yeah, who this?
This is Kyra Lewis. How are you doing?
I feel like, did I call a Huntsville number?
No, you didn't. You have reached
ORL.
the guy who's from Orlando. Yes, you have reached the O-Town or No-Town.
What up, Nate?
What up, JG? How's the show treating you?
Well, it's going great. We've had a few super chats for you, so of course you're popular as always. You're always popular on here.
Amazing.
Your thoughts
shout
on
out
that?
to my super chatters.
Of course, they all love you. They adore you. They think you're a righteous dude. Your thought on Auburn winning yet another overtime thriller? This is getting crazy.
It is getting very crazy. I think if anything, this shows us that Auburn's just got a heck of a lot of fight in it. And Bruce Pearl said, or he's been saying for weeks that, if we keep playing like this and we keep putting ourselves in these overtime situations, we're going to lose. And I believe that, but it sure hasn't happened yet. They just keep finding a way at the end of games to come through, whether it's the senior scoring, it was all seniors scoring for them in overtime, whether it's three-point shooting, whether it's defense. They just keep finding a way every single time. So, I believe that they're probably going to drop one of these at some point, but it, continued to not happen tonight. What is that? 4 out of their last 5 have gone to OT.
Yeah. That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
well.
we may never see that again. I mean, this many in a row. And to win them all.
And Bruce has won 8. Auburn's won 8 straight in OT over the past 2 years, and they're 11-2 under Bruce. So, that goes to speak for his late game coaching. I think a lot of people kind of are critics of him, or at least earlier in his career, when he was at Tennessee, early when he was at Auburn, of that part of his career. But 11-2, that's the best mark in the SEC since he's got to Auburn. Is no small thing for sure.
Gus wants to know when you're going to write a column about his late game coaching heroics.
Oh, Gus is on the brain drain?
No, but he just wants to know. I'm told.
Yeah. Okay.
Any day now.
Yeah, well, I'll just call him and tell him in person.
There's no doubt. What do you make of the situation with Isaac? You're kind of having to read the tea leaves a little bit. You know it's not torn. You know he's got a hamstring problem. What do you think is going to happen here with Isaac? How long do you think he'll be out?
Yeah, so there was he talked on the radio with Andy a little bit. He said that he kind of hinted that it was a pull, and then he seemed a little bit more. He seemed like that Isaac was going to be out when he first started talking about it. That it might be unlikely that he returns for the next game, or that he might be out for a few games. But then when he came in to talk to us, he was a little bit more confident about it. He talked about his toughness. That Isaac is a guy a lot like a lot of these Auburn players that have a lot of toughness to them, and that, you know, unless it's a really, really bad injury, it's not going to hold him out for a while. It looked really bad to me. It was really scary. Anytime you see a guy grabbing on the back of his leg like that, I thought it was a knee at first. That was my first fear, because it was kind of that same thing that happened with Chuma, where he grabbed onto the back of his leg. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Maybe you don't play him Saturday because Missouri's not very good.
Yeah.
And honestly, you need him more for the long term. So I think, honestly, if Bruce comes out tomorrow, he said they'll reevaluate in the morning. If he says that, look, he's going to be out 1 to 2 games, I think that's honestly for the best. If Bruce thinks that's for the best, then that's what Auburn needs to do, because they need him in March. You know, if they don't have him on the road against 2 of the worst teams in the SEC, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think they should just take it easy for a couple games and just see what happens. There were some folks on the chat thinking maybe they hold him out until the Kentucky game, because some of these next teams are not that great. And you got Missouri and Georgia, the next 2 up, and then you've got, I think, Tennessee after that, who's not been great this year. So maybe you could buy a little bit of time here.
You could, yeah. I think Tennessee has been a decent team this year, and that's not going to be easy at home. But I mean, we really don't know the severity. So I mean, it could be a situation where, look, it looked really bad upon first look, and he was really wincing there, but it turns out to not be too bad. Maybe they reevaluate in the morning, and it's not bad at all. Because you never really know with these injuries as soon as they happen. You know, it could look like nothing, and then he's out for the year. I mean, I trust Bruce to make the right decision. I think he's going to. And he said, look, you know, Isaac's a tough guy. That's a tough hamstring right there. That's an NBA hamstring, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
So he's only going to be held out if he really, really needs to.
What do we make about this the 3-point situation? I mean, they give up so many. It's an SEC record for most made and most attempted in an SEC game. At some point, that's kind of embarrassing from a defensive perspective. Is there a solution to that problem?
Yeah, I mean, I just think this is a matchup right now that with this current Auburn team and this current Alabama team that really favors Alabama in their shooting. Because like Bruce said, they're so hard to guard. It's like just a bunch of little mice running around that Auburn's trying to stomp on. And so they just keep getting up good looks from the three-point arc. And look, they were taking like the same shot the entire game. To me, every single Alabama possession just looked like a simulation of what we had seen the entire game. It was just on repeat, and sometimes they made those looks, and sometimes they didn't. I think Nate Oates said they only had 8 makes from inside the arc, which is just ridiculous.
Wow.
But that's crazy. I think that's going to be here to stay. Obviously, you're not going to take nearly 63 pointers a game, but that's the type of offense that Nate Oates runs. That's the run and gun offense he was so good at Buffalo with, because he said post game, he was like, yeah, 59 was probably too many. We chuckled. And then he was like, yeah, maybe 50 would be the number. You're looking to take 53 pointers a game. But it almost got him a win on the road against the top 15 team. So I think that style is here to stay. I don't know if it's super concerning for Auburn, because you're just not going to see a team do that every night. But definitely 3-point defense teams have had success doing that this year. So that certainly add that to the checklist for Auburn down the stretch.
Nate, you're doing a hell of a job out there, brother. It's my opinion anyway.
Thank you, sir.
My opinion matters.
Well, your opinion is gospel to me. So.
All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show, and we will get the super chat situation rectified next time I see you. All right.
Okay. Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, we'll get that money to you, bro.
I'm not looking at a screen. So. Oh, I see.
Yeah. These people want some money directed to you. And we got, I got to do it. I got to do what they say, man.
I am not against that.
All right.
At all.
See you, sir.
All right, JG. Take it easy. Appreciate it.
Bye. There you go, young Nate. The man. Somebody said he sounded more mature than anybody on the bunker, and he's still in school. It's true. Nate, he's actually kind of he's quick-witted, but he is kind of an old soul. I don't want to go too, back to back with all the calls, but it is time to get Mr. B-Man on the horn. So let's go ahead and do that. He was walking out. I was really hoping that we could have caught him at doing his breathing, because those of you who listen to the show every time, you know what I'm talking about. He tends to be like, so anyway, they look pretty good out there. And he was walking when he texted me, but that was like 2 minutes ago.
What is up?
Word. What's up, B-Matt?
Oh, I'm just walking out. It's actually a beautiful night. I'm walking right past the stadium right now on the way to the parking deck to the car. But that was a nice little win for Auburn, I thought.
Are you breathing heavy?
There wasn't a perfect win, but once again, they get to overtime. and they find a way to get it done. I think it was the first 8 points of overtime they scored, and Alabama got hot again, but Auburn was able to hang on in overtime like they couldn't really do it in the regulation.
Hey, you're not in bed though, right?
No. I'm walking back to the car.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
I'll be in bed in about 20 minutes.
Hey, what do you make of Isaac, man? I mean, how can you get a feel for how long you think he'll be out?
I think he'll be out at less time than people may think right away, just because Earl made a point of saying that it was cold and not a tear. And I'm sure they'll take a closer look at it tomorrow, probably give him an MRI or whatever they do. But he's the type of young kid that's going to find a way to get back on the floor as soon as possible, as long as he's cleared by the doctor. So I don't want to guess how long it'll be, but it'll be shorter than pushing forward.
I feel like you're like on a different planet. I can barely hear you. Did you have a chance to talk to any other players about Isaac? Did they tell you, kind of how he's doing or whatever?
They didn't really say anything, although they said that they just feel bad for him. Hope he's okay, and hope he'll be back soon. That was pretty much it. They didn't really go into anything more about his injury or how he's doing in the locker room. But Isaac's a little bit like Shumway. He's kind of quiet, different type of player and game and stuff. But the same sort of personality in some ways.
Word. All right, so I thought Austin Wiley was a huge part of this game, B-Matt. He had a career high in rebounds. He only needed like a few field goal attempts to even come up with double-digit points. I thought he was a huge element in this game. Tell me about how important Austin is to this team. Do you feel like he's kind of overlooked in a way?
I do, even by me sometimes, because he'll get the ball inside and fumble with it. Sometimes I'll just shake my head, but then I look down and he's got 18 points, 17 rebounds, a 5-block shot.
That's exactly right.
Monster numbers, right? If he was doing that for a team against you, you'd be like, oh God, how can we stop this dude? So, yes, I think he is underappreciated by Auburn fans, but he should be appreciated more. He was the difference for Auburn in that game. He was the difference for Auburn, against was it LSU the last game? Saturday, yeah. I thought too, especially in the second half and that comeback. So, and that was big because, Pearl did talk about this a little bit, is the matchups. Alabama was basically playing 5 guards. Auburn had to start Wiley McLemore because Danzel is, still coming back from the flu. So that provided some real matchup problems. It forced Auburn to play that zone a lot more than maybe they want to, because they didn't feel like Austin and Anthony could guard their guys on the perimeter, just blow by them and get layups, and of course that opened up a lot of 3-pointers for Alabama, and they knocked down 22 in SEC record.
Dude, when they were up 16-0 to open the game, I thought this was going to be a blowout. I thought this would be a 94-40, and it ends up being really, really close. I wonder if that's
when that happened, I turned to Nate. He's sitting right next to me. I said, I called this on the rundown, didn't I? And he was like, yep, you sure did. Then, of course, it became a totally different game than I thought it would be.
And then you quieted down.
Had they been able to extend that into the 20s by, first half, halftime, I think they probably would have blown them out. But Alabama was just way too good from three-point line. I mean, to me, it's pretty remarkable that a team made 22 three-pointers and lost. I mean, if that had been Auburn last year, they'd have blown whoever it was out by 30 points.
Auburn's got to get better on three-point defense. I mean, it's been a problem all year, and it was a real problem tonight. They just got to get better at that.
Yeah. I think part of that was just the matchup deals. They don't play a lot of zone. They're more of a man team. Paul didn't think they could play a lot of man tonight, and they're not as good in the zone defensively. They don't. They don't move as well.
So they're going to Missouri on Saturday. You think they're going to win that one?
Probably. I don't think Missouri's a very good team. They're decent, but of course I think core. That's a big loss. Big loss. So
yeah.
I don't know much about Missouri. I don't think I've watched them play at all. I just know that they're at the bottom half of the SEC as far as the record goes. But
they're just kind of okay.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about stats. And this team, the stats don't make sense for this team, but there's one stat that makes a lot of sense for this team. That's 22-2 and 9-2 in the SEC. That's a pretty good stat for Auburn.
Yeah, tremendous. And I just have to tell you, B-Matt, they lost another spot in Ken Palm for what it's worth.
They lost another spot? That's hilarious.
They're down to 32.
Is the bunker melting down right now?
They're down to 32. I'm sure the bunker's angry. We've been talking about it on the show, and they're not happy. I understand.
I bet that luck rating went way up again, too. So. Awesome.
Of course.
All right. Be wrestled.
B-Matt, you're doing a hell of a job. Get home, gargle up, brush up, get nice and clean, and have a good night's sleep.
I will. And we're going to meet with Butch tomorrow, so we'll have some more baseball stuff. So look for that.
All right, man.
Peace out.
See you, bro. There he is, Mr. B-Matt, the one, the only. Our doer of many things. Indeed. I'm sitting here just drinking this Blinking Owl, sent to me by a fan of the show, Michael M. from California. Right here, man. I'm enjoying that. Thank you very much for that. You guys had a lot of funny quips, I should say, about B-Matt as that was going on. I couldn't really talk about him on the show because he was, he was doing his interview. That was funny though. Talking about it sounded like B-Matt was basically speaking gibberish for a minute. So this is awesome. Call Me Biscuit said, "Is B-Matt calling from the swimming pool?" Oh, B-Matt, what's the deal, man? Also, Melee says, "I don't know how good BP can coach, but I know he's a dry cleaner's nightmare." Patrick D says, "Okoro and Wiley won this game." I tend to agree. I thought Wiley was huge in that game. He was the Ken Palm MVP, but I know at this point you guys are like, Ken Palm, don't care. Because they keep dropping Auburn. But that's true. Fat Crack says he's about to head out with a final super chat. Thank you, Fat Crack. Says, "Peace out, JG. Got to get some sleep, or damn Eagle." All right, man. Appreciate you, Fat Crack. Always here for us, man. We appreciate you. Corny says, "B-Matt is so good." Alpha Tiger says, "Baseball for B-Matt, starting rotation and top 2 weekday starters. Unfortunately, he is now off the line. So he will be able to, he'll probably be just updating that on his own tomorrow after they talk with Butch and getting ready for that home series, the season opening series this weekend against Illinois Chicago, UIC, as some people would call them, the Flames. That is where Jenny McCarthy's twin younger sisters play basketball once upon a time. If you guys want to Google that, go ahead. They were pretty hot, as you would expect. Call Me Biscuit actually brings up a great point. Selling beer at baseball games should help with bunker attendance. Yes, that was announced today that Auburn's going to sell. I think Ole Miss also announced the same thing. I wonder if that was a league-wide thing, but Auburn is going to sell beer at Plainsman Park through the 7th inning, I believe. So there you go. That's good news, I think. I don't drink a lot of beer, but I am good with beer. I'm not going to stop people from drinking beer, that's for sure. And that just makes the baseball game that much better, assuming that they're not $10. Because when me and administrative assistant went to see the Washington Nationals a couple years ago, the beers were $10. $10. They're like $1.25 up here at the local Circle K. But, of course, that's in Montgomery, Alabama, so, Captain Eagle Fly Good in the house. Just checking in. Everything Gucci is still a trash handle, in my opinion. No, those are 2 great handles. I probably, if I had to say one over the other, Captain Eagle Fly Good is my favorite all-time bunker handle. There was one years ago called Boo Red Team. I like that name, too. That was a really good one. But I'm glad to have you, Captain Eagle Fly Good. Anybody with a handle like that is somebody I like. That's just clever. Sparrow Empire with another super chat. Thank you so much, Sparrow. You're always here for us. He said, "I've asked this before, but after tonight, has your stance changed any regarding Bruce stretching Austin out to 30 minutes a game? Also, what is on your pop filter?" Great question. As far as Austin stretching out to 30 minutes a game, no. I mean, I just don't think that he's made to do that. He ended up playing 31 tonight, which is great. But I don't think that's something they want to do all the time. So I don't really know how to answer that. I think in a perfect world, Bruce plays him 20 to 25. And it's amazing that we got here because he had to make such incredible modifications on how he defends people because he was lunging so much all the way up until this last offseason, and he's really worked on moving his feet. And I wouldn't even necessarily say he's foul prone now. I mean, he's not the greatest defender, but he swats shots. He's a good rim protector. He had 5 blocks tonight. And as you mentioned, 31 minutes tonight. Also, what is on your pop filter? So, yeah, this is just kind of a homemade pop filter. I got tired of the actual full pop filter, and really all I needed was something to keep my nose. So when I breathe out my nose, it doesn't get on the top of the mic. So I just kind of fashioned this half thing. So I have an open shot right into the mic, and then the top is kind of cut off. Patrick D says, screw Ole Miss, a bunch of poor man's elitists. Well, that hurts. My daughter's considering Ole Miss. Would you think that she was a poor man's elitist? She certainly would be coming from the home of a poor man, but I don't think she's an elitist at all. I'm not even going to do that. Canoe Man says Ole Miss has a great baseball atmosphere. Absolutely. I think they're the best. Well, she's pretty good too. Auburn has great fans. It's just kind of a... Plainsman Park, when I first got here, 97, 98, was a tremendous ballpark. Probably the best in the country. But really not a lot has changed there since 98. That was 21 years ago. And I don't know if it's Superstar Stadium anymore. But we get down the same road again. I mean, Jordan Hare hasn't really been upgraded significantly. Aside from that beautiful television on the end, huh? That Jumbotron's pretty nice, huh? Aside from that, they're still working on a football complex. Softball's finally getting some legitimate seating. Those folks that had been sitting up and, yeah, we've definitely got some bunker softball enthusiasts. Those folks have been sitting on kind of temporary seating, finally have some actual real seating now. They needed that. There's a lot of projects that need to be done. They need to have another sports medicine spot, in my opinion, somewhere else over toward where like softball and soccer and the new football complex can get better access to it. Probably need another one of those. So anyway, Patrick Duke says he's not a big fan of Ole Miss. I mean, I respect your opinion, but to me, they're just like, why would you even worry about them? They're going to beat you in like baseball, and you're going to crush them in football, and probably go about 50-50 with them in basketball, and that's about it. Who cares? TD says we can't even dream of having Ole Miss's baseball environment. We could dream it. You know, we have some people that are really serious about it. They're serious about making Auburn have a great baseball atmosphere. I just don't think it's set up for it. You don't really have a berm. You can't do anything in the outfield. You've got those folks in the right field line, but the way that area out there is set up, you can't really put a berm out there, and the berm is what you need, I think, to really get it going. And that's prime tailgating location, so they'll never take that away. The end. There's no doubt. TD says I use the Jay Jacobs voice. It's getting more and more like Bill Clinton, isn't it? It's getting that way because I don't talk to Jay anymore. He's down in Florida, and I forgot what he sounds like. And believe me, he's not texting me. Ever since we had the blow up over the softball BS, I don't deal with him anymore. I got upset. I said what I needed to say to Jay Jacobs, and that was that. I thought he went full charlatan on me. My opinion. Infinity and Zero. Interesting name. I like that. Predictions on the rest of season and tournament. Let's go through this. I can do this. Let me hide the standings. Let me get the schedule up there. All right. So, at Missouri, no Isaac Okoro. I'm going to go with Auburn in that one. At Georgia, I'm saying no Isaac Okoro. Still taking Auburn. Tennessee at home, possibly Isaac Okoro. I'm taking Auburn. Ole Miss at home, probably will have Isaac by then. Win. At Kentucky, February 29th. Loss. Texas A&M at home. Win. At Tennessee. I'm going to call that a loss. I just think Tennessee's, I don't know. I don't think Auburn can keep it going. So, I don't know whatever that is. That would be 2 more losses. It's not bad. That would be, what, 14-4? 28-2. Now, Ken Palm would probably have Auburn drop down to 52 on that. Squeak into the tournament as an 8 seed. We're gonna start telling some Ken Palm jokes, you guys. I'm not even mad about it. I know the bunker is. Mm-hmm. All right, Captain Eagle Flag. It sounds like you might be out. I hope I didn't miss you, but thank you for coming on the show, yo. Patrick D says, without Okoro, we go 3-1. I think we lose 6. Dang. I mean, Isaac is he's a terrific player. He's particularly terrific when you consider he's a true freshman. But remember now, Austin is technically your best offensive player. He's your most effective offensive player. You can't run shit for him, but he will get his numbers. And then Samir is still above Isaac. Still rated above Isaac. And Javon is close, but not quite. And then D'Angelo, I don't even know what to tell you about D'Angelo. D'Angelo is all or nothing. He plays incredibly sometimes, and then he's a 0 sometimes. And you can't tell which one's going to happen. Generally, he's a 0. He's more of a 0 than he is not. You know what I mean? I don't understand him. I don't. At his age, he should be better. He should be more consistent. Alpha Tiger, this is a really rude thing to ask. It says, when is Ben Wolt going to lose his virginity? Ben, if you're out there, I have no doubt that I'm not going to answer that question. Unbelievable, Alpha. It's disrespectful. Jimmy Holcomb says, I mean, we beat Kentucky, but they are 5 spots higher in Ken Palm. No offense to the Bluegrass, Jay. Oh, none taken, brother. I think it's funny, too. Kentucky's 27. They've lost 5 games. Several of them stinkers. They lost to Evansville, who really stinks. They lost to Utah, who's just merely bad. They lost to Ohio State, who's actually picked it up here lately. They're pretty good. South Carolina, who is, 5th in the standings now. They're kind of a weird team. They're not talented, but they're very physical. And then Auburn. And here lately they beat State. They beat Tennessee. Crushed Tennessee. Crushed Vanderbilt, but everybody does that. And Ken Palm's giving them an 81% chance of beating Ole Miss at home on Saturday. And then they've got a 42% chance to win at LSU next Tuesday. That's going to be a showdown right there. Kentucky at LSU. We have to keep an eye on that one. Bradley G says, forget the ratings. Who cares? I don't spend a lot of time looking at that stuff, honestly, except if it weren't for the bunker, I don't think I'd look at all. It just doesn't matter to me. I mean, anything that I'm coming up with in my head has nothing to do with what Ken Palm ranks anybody or the AP. I mean, no offense. And I know we've got some real basketball people here, but I mean, I grew up in a Louisville family. My dad's a Louisville graduate. He got his MD at Louisville, and my mom worked at the library, and that's how they met at University of Louisville. So I grew up watching Louisville all the time, talking about Louisville, and then I went to school in Lexington, and I watched Kentucky all the time, and I've spent my life, basketball has been my thing. After all these years, you can kind of know what a 2-seed team looks like and what a 3-seed team looks like and what a 4-seed team looks like. To me, Auburn looks like a 3-seed. 2, 3-seed, maybe 4-seed, depending on if their luck runs out. They're a pretty good team. They got some holes. They're never going to be able to shoot anybody. And you always got to remember that when it comes to March Madness, you need guards. You need great guard play. That's why Auburn went so far last year, because they had great guard play and they cut people up with them all the time. I don't know about this team. I don't know. Javon's solid, but he's not great. Samir's solid, but he's not great. Jamal is what he is. Cambridge is what he is. Y'all figure that out. What do you think, administrative assistant? Lifetime Louisville fan? Yes, you are. No, I'm good. I'm about to roll this thing. You all right? Word. Let's see. Solo Tiger, I think you're joking with me. Says JGT got those basketball bona fides. I mean, I'm just saying, dude, I grew up. I watched basketball all the time. I didn't even get into football. The first football game I ever watched in my entire life, college football, I should say, was the Iron Bowl when Lawyer Tillman ran the reverse. And I was really fired up. My dad and I were watching that in Tulsa. I was freaking out, man. That was awesome. But until then, man, it was always basketball. First Louisville and then Kentucky. Corny, little bunker humor. Corny says Ken Palm equals GG32. GG32 has been a troublemaker lately, hasn't he? Some of these takes he has in the bunker are so bad. Horrible. You'd almost think he was trying to sabotage his takes. But he wouldn't do that, I doubt it. Nah. All right. Well, I reckon we'll wrap it up. I cannot believe the amount of support that we have had on this show tonight, on a Wednesday night. You know, we have lots and lots of viewers on the weekends. We went as high as 350 a couple weeks ago. But, you know, in the middle of the week, everybody's got to go to work the next morning or deal with the kids or whatever you're doing out there. But you guys are still tuning in, and I appreciate you guys. Also, a huge shout out, of course, to all of our great, outstanding super chatters who are absolutely the best. Everybody knows that. I want to go through our crew tonight. Fat Crack, Major Panty Sniffer in the house, who had a super chat for Jay Lee. I know Jay Lee's going to be enjoyed about that. And I will get that to him. I promise you. Love the Cats, a.k.a. Hornacious, a.k.a. at least the second best horn, if not the best. Stu Pup, Sparrow Empire, Canoe Man, always here with us. Corny, appreciate you. Stu Pup again. Jason Turner, appreciate you, Jason. Patrick D dropped a little care package there from the Salt Lake City Airport. Thank you, sir. Why not AU in the house? Warren C., who I'm very glad to know had a chance to go ahead and urinate. That was huge. Sparrow Empire jumped in as usual. Biscuit as well to say he wanted me to give Jay Lee 25 cents. Caddy Wampus. Jay Lee said that's one of his favorite phrases, too. That's huge. Bradley G., thank you so much. I don't even think I called out your super chat. I saw it and I was doing something else. Bradley G., appreciate you, bro. He said, "Speak health into Okoro's hammy." Here we go. You ready? That's my supersonic. That's how you limber up a damaged hamstring right there. Thank you, Bradley. My bad for missing that. I never want to do that. Canoe Man again. And then Ben B closes out with one right there. Thanks, JGT. No, thank you, Ben B. You're here all the time. Appreciate you. Coming through, yo. Huge. Chip says, I hope JGT closes out the show better than Javon. Javon did have a pretty clutch steal there late, but he also had a really bad shot at the end of regulation, so, you know, it happens sometimes. Melee says, I'm just here for the pop filter. I don't know. It's kind of, I know, it's an unusual one, but it works for me. The bottom line is I love this mic. I was thinking about replacing it, but I like it. I don't know. It's a Heil PR40. It's considered the gold standard for regular people. I was talking to this guy. If you guys remember, I had a piece go down. I actually caught fire, like during football season. My sound processor started smoking, so I had to get a new one, and I couldn't do a show without a new one. It's a crucial part of my setup. So my guy at Sweetwater's a company in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they sell specialized musical equipment. And so my man Noah there hooked me up, and he said, I'll get this to you really, really fast. Do you need anything else? And I was like, You know, I'm using this Heil PR40. I was thinking about maybe another mic. And he goes, yeah, man, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you a link. And we'll see if we can hook you up with maybe something a little bit better. And I was like, sweet, let's check it out. So he sends me links to the new mics. The cheapest one was $1,000. I was like, hey, man, yeah, that's not a microphone. That's like a museum piece. I'm good. But thanks for getting me the sound processor. Love you guys. Have fun in Fort Wayne. Boom. I mean, good guy and everything, but he must be dealing with like actual musicians. Like the Goo Goo Dolls must call him up and go, hey, man, I need a new mic. Sure, man. We'll get you this from Germany, and it's only $12,000. Anyway. Call Me Biscuit said, is there no alcohol in Blinking Owl? Of course there's alcohol in it. It's 2 years old. want to give a shout out to Michael M. again for the trouble. First of all, the cost. This stuff is not cheap. I mean, you go to Santa Ana, you know what I mean? And then he sends it to me with no expectation of anything in return. I've asked him if he wanted anything. I mean, hell, I'll get him something. Send him some Clyde Mays or whatever. Some Alabama bourbon, but he said no. Just a gracious, giving person. Chip says that's like half-night super chats for the new mic. But we don't need it. Listen, man, I got some ideas for the super chat money, believe me. You guys are going to like it. This software I use to do the show, I mean, it's working fine and everything, but we're gonna go to something else as soon as I figure this stuff out. Remember now, I'm a 47-year-old, former newspaper reporter turned almost decent YouTube content producer. It takes me a little while to get the stuff going, but I promise you it's gonna be really, really fat. PHAT. JGT was just talking like BMAT on the call tonight. Are you ready? That's what you do. That's the supersonic. That's the JGT supersonic hamstring sound. Just loop it on your phone. You can get like 10 hours out of that. Chip says, could I be getting a new Creed wall backdrop? Oh, well, look at you. Hey, I don't know as though I've shouted this out enough, but R. Thomas from the bunker, he made this for me. He is kind of in that business, and he did this for no price. I would have paid him every penny I owed him, but he said, JG, I insist. Made this thing for me, sent it to me. Clutch. Patrick Duke, I'm glad you were able to put that down on your hamstring and get it all better. Call Me Biscuit says, here's to everyone getting some love on Valentine's Day. Man, that's very thoughtful of you, Biscuit. I hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day. It's not a big day for me, but, for those of you who are new in relationships, it gives you a reason to shower your significant other with either gifts or just happy tidings. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, Patrick D says the bunker is a communal. Word. Plains Old Joe with the statement of the night. You have some cool-ass supporters. You're absolutely right. Unbelievably giving and generous people. We end up talking on the bunker so much about how, people are crazy on the bunker. But there's not that many crazy people in the bunker. They post a lot. You think about like S-Town, right? S-Town's crazy. He's insane. We've had him on the show. He posts a lot. I mean, Liger, football season. He sounds like Scrooge McDuck. You think the bunker's negative, but it's really just Liger. And GG32 and a few other people, Anyway. Corny says, administrative assistant love isn't cheap. Fortunately for me, administrative assistant hates Valentine's Day, like with a passion. Like if I bought her something, I wouldn't get I was going to say a bad word there in case kids are watching. I wouldn't get punched over it. Like she wouldn't actually physically harm me, but she would want a reason. She'd be like, why are you doing this? Have you done something wrong? Warren says Barron needs to get some love on Valentine's Day. Warren, I don't know where you're going with that. I feel like your driver's inability to let you urinate has affected your thinking tonight, and I'm concerned about it. Plains Old Joe says, is it weird that I can't wait for brain drains after each game, win or loss? We haven't had a lot of losses, though, have we? But, no, it's not weird. I'm always gearing up for it. I was thinking about it all day today. I like being here. Of course, I'm the one talking. Hope I'm entertaining. Adam P. says, any host snatchers out tonight? You know what, man? I really need to get a picture of that for you guys. That was one of the great times of my life, yo. Hanging out with the host snatchers at Talladega. Hell, that was probably 12 years ago. That is my promise to you guys. To Adam P. in particular. I'm going to get a picture of the host snatcher. For the next show, yo. I'm going to get it because I took pictures of it. I was like, I never want to forget this day. And I will do it. I was hoping I could just pull that up, but I don't know why in the world I thought I could just pull that up right away. Canoe Man says brain drain is better than the game. Man, that really means something right there. Call Me Biscuit says apparently Barron is Warren's driver that won't stop for the restroom. Warren, I'm glad you showed up today, bro. Hope you come back again. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Patrick Duke says 7 more games. Hell, let's just run it. Just run the whole thing. I'm not going to call Doc this late, man. I mean, for real. It's 10:30. If we really want him on the show, I mean, he's always really agreeable about it. So if we want to get him on the show from Missouri, we can do that. Captain Eagle Flyget said, are we still doing call-ins or are we just doing BMAT's ASMR hour? We haven't done as many call-ins. One of the things about football season, we did call-ins like wall-to-wall. And I felt like I was not involved in the chat at all. And now with basketball season, I'm generally totally in on the chat, which I enjoy doing and kind of interacting with you guys. And then we don't take calls. And, we took some calls early in the season. And I just wondered a little bit if we have enough informed callers to make a difference. Because I think that people don't call as much because they don't know basketball as much, or at least not enough to get on the horn and talk about it. I know some of the folks that really are basketball stars. I mean, DM8 knows a lot about basketball, no doubt. Jeremy E. had a really bad tweet today about how Auburn was going to get crushed in overtime, but I ended up putting it on the bunker. I don't know if you guys saw that. I only did that because Jeremy E. can take it. He's a badass. But he went out on Twitter and was like, Auburn's going to get crushed by 10 in overtime, and it's pathetic, and we can't win without Isaac. And then Auburn won without Isaac. So I gave him hell about it. But Jeremy's good. He's good people, man. He's a real good poster. He doesn't post as much. I think he got a little political there for a minute. But I think he's coming back. He's coming back to the world. Captain Eagle Flag, that ASMR stuff. Hey, guys. Word. I'm just walking back to the Highlander. Remember that one time that Jeffrey came on the football show and we were doing that? I was like, hey, man, what's going on? He was like, not much. How you been? Good. I'm breaking some news here, though. Me and BMAT and possibly Nate are going to be meeting with a possible intern. We may hire an intern for the summer, and we're going to have a lunch, a power lunch with this person. It's a girl with this girl, lady, female, on, later in the week. So maybe I need to start a thread, and you guys can ask, you can give us your questions that you think we need to vet. We can use to vet this person to see if they're ready for what the bunker has to offer. She would mostly be helping, I would imagine, Jay Lee with recruits, because a lot of times during the summer in June and July, they'll have like a big camp day, and I mean, there's like 200 kids there, and you've got to kind of find the 10 or 15 that you need to talk to, and it helps for Jeffrey Lee to have somebody else to kind of, hey, there's whoever, and there's Steve, and here's Johnny, and we need to talk to them. So we'll see. Corny says, with the chat, it's like you are responding without posting. You can be more of a smartass. See what I mean? It's fun. Canoe Man says, yes, please say she is cute. I look at her as an employee, or potential employee anyway. I mean, she's certainly very young. We'll see. We'll see if she's a good fit for us. She hasn't written a lot. Warren says his driver just got pulled over. I'm not buying the story anymore, bro. But I appreciate your super chat anyway, and you being part of the show. Hope you come back. Maybe you'll be in a better situation next time on on Saturday night. Patrick D says first evaluation for our potential intern is what sauce she likes at Voodoo. Second is key lime or nanner pudding. Of course, the only winning sauce now is the rundown sauce, which is actually hot, which you then get a side of the Cajun ranch and you dip it, so it's like a 2-layer. Jay Lee says it changed his life. I had it and I thought it was like kind of. Anyway, Jay Lee said it changed his life. So, Chip says, can she eat the bomb? I know. I don't know if I want to put her through that. Captain Eagle Flygood says, I worked those camps as a Tiger hose. Me and Muschamp made fun of some of the kids together. Was lit. End of story. Muschamp was nobody better to hang out at a camp with than Will Muschamp. That is the absolute truth. In fact, of all the coaches I've covered, there's nobody I'd rather hang out with than Will Muschamp. Shit, of anybody. Any sport. Well, Chad Pruitt's really cool, too. I like Chad Pruitt a lot. Muschamp. Tommy Slater before he got full of himself, so that was when he was a Howell assistant. I really liked him. Yeah. I like those guys. I like Tommy, too. Tommy Tuberville's good. He was funny. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I'm just rambling now. You know how it goes. I want to thank, again, Michael M. for sending along this Blinking Owl bourbon. California made. Age statement of 2 years. You can find them on their website at blinkingowl.com, but I don't think its stuff's available in Alabama. I don't even know why, I don't know if you could even find it in Georgia or whatever. They're just kind of a new brand making their way. Anyway, Chip says eating the bomb is easier than bunkering on most days. I know you've been over there to see them at the new location on Old Shell, Chip. I've heard it's really, really awesome. My daughter's interviewing over there for that pre-admission in medical school. I think it's a week from this, so a week and a half from now. So I'm hoping to stop by and say what's up. Because I know Jan's been down there kind of getting that staff into shape. So hopefully I'll be able to down there and have a little lunch there. Really looking forward to it. I'm so happy to see them growing, man. I mean, they're going to be like a huge nationwide company one of these days because I'm serious. Their food is so good. It really is. And they just work so hard at it. And I just love supporting Auburn people that have been doing this the whole way. So, and Plains Old Joe says nobody likes Jeremy Pruitt. Hell yeah. Nobody likes him. Not even the Tennessee people. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there for reals. Appreciate you guys. Canoe Man says he'll be reaching for the stars, so I don't even have to tell him. But for everybody else, seriously, let's make great decisions out there. Let's have a great end of the week. We'll be back here after the game at Missouri, which tips off at 5 o'clock Central Time on Saturday. We'll be here after the game. That'll probably be, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock-ish. And we'll just have some beverages and talk basketball, football. Baseball will be going at that point. Softball's at home this weekend. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Maybe even some puppies if you want to. I don't care. If you guys want to send me some pictures, man, I'm willing to post them. Jazzy Joe was on here last week and showed pictures of his rig with a bunch of Auburn stuff on it. It's pretty sweet. All right. Appreciate you guys, all our super chatters. You guys know you're the real MVPs. And all of our awesome chatters who've been with us the whole way through and are here every single weekend. Captain Eagle Flygood, seriously, don't be a stranger. Come back for the show. Warren, same for you, bro. Please come back. We'd love to have you here on the chat, bro. And for all of you who haven't posted, still love you guys being here. We had huge numbers tonight, and I'm so grateful for that. So hopefully we'll see you guys on the Saturday show. Until then, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. See ya.